lights are out and you stumble in the dark. You kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds, and when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me.
From Daytona International Speedway, the Racers Elite Nextgen Cup Series is ready to get it on here for the 2024 season. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast Booth. I'm Dave Regal, and he's Daniel Paulus. We're ready to open another season of Racers Elite Nextgen Cup Racing. You know, we can't even call it Next Gens because right now it is the generation of NASCAR Cup car. Here on the 2.5-mile super speedway, just a few miles away from the sands where our sport got its start. I want to thank everybody for making us a part of your evening as we get ready to open the year, because we'll be with you every step of the way, from the green flag to the checkered flag, right here on Sim Racing Media. And I'll tell you what, folks, I'm excited, and I can't tell you enough how thankful I am that we have the opportunity to be here for another night of Racers Elite action here on Sim Racing Media. Daniel, how are you feeling as we get ready to dive into another new season?
I'm feeling very excited. I'm ready to get going to kick off this new season. This is a clean slate for every single driver here tonight to compete for a championship this season. This is where it's all going to start here on the high banks of Daytona. Can't wait to get the green flag.
Absolutely. Taking a look right now at Sam Kohlhaas, who right now sits atop the pile, 49.34 his first lap. And I'll tell you what, we're going to see a little bit of a faster lap this time around as Ira Kohlhaas just hops to the top in a 49.34. So the Kohlhaases out here making it happen in sub 50-second laps. And as Sam goes across the line, he's actually 200th of a second slower than Ira. Now, Ira here is going to be, let's see, as he's going to come down the back chute. Not really excited about this one after seeing Sam go 200th of a second, so hopefully Ira can do us proud. We'll take a look at his dashboard here and see he's 180 miles per hour in fourth gear all by his lonesome as he gets ready to complete this second lap. Pole sitter right now is Austin Smith at 49.31, so all of a sudden Kohlhaas has a lot to make up for, and he does not do it. He actually runs an identical lap to the first one, so 49.34 for Ira Kohlhaas. Michael Smith here in the number 45, he's going 49.37, sitting in fourth right now.
Going to see all of these drivers when they do qualifying, as they are qualifying right now. We see these drivers, they start when they're getting ready to start their first qualifying lap. They're going to be on the high banks, and they're going to want to try to get this track as short as possible. So you're going to see them once they start to, cross the start finish line. They're going to be hugging that double yellow line, Dave, and they're going to try and make it as short as possible because that's how they get a faster lap time around here.
Without a doubt, as we take a look at Brandon Zimmerman finishing up his second lap, he went 49.37 on the first, and as he rolls it out of turn 4 and back onto the front stretch here, we're going to see as he's right on the yellow line coming through the Geico restart zone, crosses the start-finish line. Brandon Zimmerman going identical time to his first lap at 49.37. So next up here we have Brandon Honeycutt. We're going to take a peek here at the 13. Of course, for those of you that were with us last night, Brandon Honeycutt traditionally in the number 13 here in the Racers Elite Series. And of course, we do have 3 nights a week of Racers Elite racing, as we'll pull up that schedule here on the right-hand side of your screen. All time 7:30 Eastern, as we're going to get underway every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Of course, Tuesday, the Truck Series going to be at Chicagoland. The Xfinity Series going to be at Auto Club, as well as the Cup Series next Wednesday and Thursday. Each of those, as I mentioned, 7:30 Eastern. So, 3 nights of, exciting racing here. We had 80 laps last night in the Xfinity Series. We're going to have the same distance tonight here in the Cup Series. And watching those drivers last night, just 3 cautions from start to finish was impressive. And, here at Daytona, 3 cautions makes for a pretty exciting race. As we pull up that race information, 78 degrees if you're in the grandstand tonight here on the front stretch, or if you're camping there on the infield. Nice and comfy just off of Nova Road in Daytona Beach. And the asphalt temperature, though, 78 as well. So nice tight asphalt makes for some great grip here, and everybody likes a tight asphalt. Well, I guess Daniel's going to leave me hanging here as we're going to continue here with just a few minutes left in qualifying. Diego Rodriguez being scored as our pole sitter right now, and we've got a lot to look forward to this season. And, of course, with our relationship with Racers Elite, we're going to see more and more of these drivers crossing from series to series, many of them driving all 3 series every night. So, that's exciting.
Yes.
That's a big commitment from them, and it's also a commitment from us to be delivering nothing but the best here on SRM. As we take a look at the YouTube.com live chat, Corey Crowell cheering on Midwest Motorsports. Want to welcome everybody into the YouTube.com live chat. Make sure that you subscribe, turn on those bell notifications so that you can be told every time we go live, as we have 6 nights of racing, nearly 7 here on sim racing media. We're a busy company. We're a busy group of people, but it pays off, Daniel.
It sure does. No matter what series we see here throughout each and every week, it's very exciting and fun to watch, especially if you know one of the drivers, as they might be related to you, or they're racing and just having fun and you're cheering them on. So that's also what's exciting. But here at Daytona, we're going to see these drivers going at least 190 to 200 miles per hour here tonight. You're going to see bump drafting going on. You're going to see pushes probably being made in corners where you don't want to push, because that could send a car around easily. So you're going to be very, very careful here. And you're pretty much nowhere safe here, Dave. Nowhere, if you're in the back, the pack, you're in the front of the pack, middle of the pack, you're nowhere safe here, because if a big one occurs, there's a 50-50 shot that you can get in that.
Yes, sir. And you know what else we're going to see tonight, Daniel? The side draft.
What are we going to see?
We're going to see the side draft. And now it's appropriate
Can they
to see the side draft.
Can they side draft?
That's the most famous clip in all of SRM in the last 6 months.
It has been, it's like slide job, but side draft. It's one of those things, but I mean, it is a pretty popular thing still. Now actually I can say it here tonight, Dave. I can say it. I can finally say side draft.
You can say it without having me just go into a full-on seizure at the microphone, is what you're saying.
Yeah, basically.
So taking a look here at our standings, looks like atop the pile going to be Diego Rodriguez. I'm looking for him in our as he is down here in Upfront Motorsports. We're going to get a hold of Diego. Hey, Diego, it's Dave and Daniel up in the broadcast booth. You got me?
Yep, I do.
Hey, man, listen, congratulations on the pole tonight, as Adrian, Michigan, going to be cheering you on. What are you thinking as far as strategy through this race? Are you going to maybe drop to the back, or if you try your best to stay up front, at least you're ahead of any of the mayhem that may break out?
Yeah, I'd rather be in front of the wrecks than have to avoid them. I'd just rather stay in the front the whole race.
Yeah, and that's a tall task here in these next gen cars. I mean, I know in the trucks and the Xfinity series at Daytona we see a lot of side-by-side racing, but here every now and then you may see a little 4-car pack dump somebody off in front of you, but a lot of single file racing in these next gen cars. Can you explain what could possibly be causing that?
A lot of side drafting, in my opinion. You can side draft someone. It's like a parachute pulling them back. You can't go anywhere with side draft.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, one of the things that we see more often than not, especially here, is that side draft affecting basically being able to pull that person, as you're saying. So a lot of people trying to avoid being the victim of the side draft, but I mean, moving forward tonight, you've got nothing but a fresh season and now your first pole under your belt.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this race in this season.
All right, man. Congratulations. We're going to get our starting lineup together. So good luck and get in that car.
Thank you.
Well, Daniel, we're going to take a look at our starting lineup here as we get ready to rock and roll. Diego Rodriguez is going to be our pole sitter. You'll have to forgive me as I don't have the hotkeys programmed as I usually do here on my stream deck, so we're kind of flying a little differently tonight. But Diego Rodriguez is going to be here on our pole. Austin Smith going to start on the outside of row number 1 out of Burlington, Wisconsin. Corey Crowell from Oak Harbor, Ohio, going to start on the inside of row number 2, joined by Joshua Neal. Ira Kohlhaas and Sam Kohlhaas going to be starting in row number 3. Of course, Ira from Woodlawn, Tennessee, and Sam Kohlhaas sitting on his outside with Kensley Smith and Michael Smith in 7th and 8th. So a pair of Kohlhaases in 5th and 6th, and a pair of Smiths in 7th and 8th. Troy Thomas going to be starting on the inside of row number 5, and Andrew Teft going to make up the end here of our top 10. Brandon Puffenbarger, who was very successful last night in the Xfinity Series, going to start on the inside of row number 6, while Jeremy Carter going to be here on the outside of row number 6. Row 7 going to feature Zach Lockett along with Dennis Kane, while Robert Norfsinger going to start in row number 8 with Jason Bottoms. Brandon Zimmerman and Paul Shaw going to be in row 9, while Truth Hoke and Brandon Honeycutt are going to reside in row number 10 to get started. Austin Walker and Kirby Wainscott going to be in row 11, while Alan Bergen, our very own teammate here, of course the voice alongside of me on a Wednesday night here in the Racers Elite Series, going to be starting in 23rd. Noah Tansman in 24th with Gregory Robinson and Jonathan Leach in row number 13. Dakota Bly and Alex Teft starting shotgun on the field as Brandon Sanfilippo just slides in, and I believe Sanfilippo will be race control tonight. Not sure yet, but we'll find that out just as we get started here in the Racers Elite Next Gen Series live at Daytona, Daniel.
Oh, yeah. Hearing those engines roar here at Daytona gets me all pumped up. But, you know, there's one driver I want to focus on here early on in this race is the 24 of Diego Rodriguez. Last season, he's had an up and down season. He hasn't been executing as well. You know, every time he's been up towards the front, something terrible would happen to him. But I feel like he has gotten some execution done very well last season. I expect big things out of this 24 of Diego Rodriguez. We're seeing many other new drivers also in this race here tonight in this series. But, you know, there's a lot of strategy that comes into play here on these plate tracks here, Dave. When you're pitting, you got to come in as a file, as a group. You can't come out just by yourself off a pit road, because if so, you're not going to be in the draft, and that's going to hurt you tremendously. So there's a lot of strategy going on, especially if it's a long green flag run here tonight. But I can't wait to see what these drivers have in store for us tonight.
Without a doubt, as the iRacing pace car lights are out, that means that we will be going green flag racing this time by. Austin Smith and Diego Rodriguez just behind it as Rodriguez sets himself up on the inside behind the iRacing.com pace car. As we move our way through turns 3 and 4, we get ourselves lined up and ready to rock and roll. We can see that big line of cars making its way out of turn number 4, just passing the Sunoco Race Fuel sign here. As the man in the stand has the green flag in his hand, the only thing that's left to do is it's time to wipe the visor and adjust the 5-point harness. Grandpa, grab a Viagra and stand up tall. Race fans, it's show time!
24 Diego Rodriguez leading the first lap here in the Daytona race here tonight, with him leading that inside line, but don't wait too long because that outside's going to get that run, come down back straightaway.
Side by side down the back straightaway they come into turn number 3. We can see everybody nice and organized here. Nothing too crazy. Nobody stepping out of line that much. And of course, just as I say that, they start to make those decisions. Looks like Austin Smith currently being timed as our race leader. We'll find out in just a second as we roll out of turn number 4. And as they come out of 4, it looks like it will be Austin Smith being scored in P1 to get us underway tonight. He's followed by Joshua Neal and Corey Crowell. And right now, that high line starting to form itself up nice and single file. Austin Smith getting just in front of Joshua Neal, and Neal going to tuck up right behind that rear bumper of Smith.
And these drivers, they're just getting a handle of how their cars are feeling here tonight from Daytona, because when you're in that draft, it's very hard to not wreck somebody around you. And you're seeing right here that inside line very well organized, and they're having the advantage over that outside right now.
And as we move through lap number 2 here, Austin Smith now going to be joined here on the low side by Joshua Neal, Corey Crowell, Michael Smith, Sam Kohlhaas, and there's our pole sitter, Diego Rodriguez. Now, just behind them is where things get a little hairy. We're going to check this out just about where Kensley Smith is. We can see the 88 now of Troy Thomas. He just got himself onto the yellow line, got back up in line without making a big mistake, as he's going to take a good bump from Brandon Puffenbarger. This is something that I didn't get a whole lot of experience with last night because the Xfinity cars don't bump draft like these Cup cars do on the Super Speedway. We see that New Jersey Devils number 93 of Zach Lockett moving in, but that high line suddenly getting some momentum as it looks like they're ready to try to make a run just behind what appears to be the 13 of Brandon Honeycutt.
Brandon Honeycutt, one of those drivers that was in the playoffs last season, didn't get that championship.
Oh, there goes the 24. You had called it earlier. Diego Rodriguez goes a spinning and is upside down. That's not going to end well. So
Wow.
Yeesh. Let's take a look and see what
Yeah,
we
you see
missed. It
that.
happened just outside of our camera view. There's the 24, the 98, the 26, just ahead of him. It looks like the 26 may have come down. That's Jeremy Carter. And we'll see if
Very
we can
unfortunate.
we'll see if we can get a look from Jeremy Carter. Carter here just dipping to the end and catching the 24. Carter able to recover and get himself back up onto the racing surface, but the 24 of Diego Rodriguez not having the same amount of luck. In fact, let's take a look here from Diego's perspective. This is going to be painful. There's the turn. He takes the wall. I hope you don't have... Ooh, you got to take some Dramamine for that one as we go upside down.
Yeah.
Hey.
Big hits. Big hits early on. Frozen. But big hits early on here from Daytona as the pace car is now on track.
As we get our act together here. Here we go. We're going to be able to share that screen in the old Discord. Austin Smith going to be atop the pile. He's going to have Joshua Neal, Corey Crowell, Michael Smith, Sam Kohlhaas, and Andrew Teft behind him as we see the two SRM drivers in the 21 and the well, technically the 86 and the 27. Alan Bergen from just outside of St. Louis, Missouri. Kind of a confused young man. He apparently thinks that St. Louis is the world's greatest city. I've got news for him. It ain't. I can talk all kinds of trash about him now because I'm up here and he's down there and he doesn't have a microphone. Come at me, bro. As we take a look at our YouTube.com live chat, I want to welcome everybody in tonight. There's the activity here as Michelle Smith saying, start the season strong, Midwest Motorsports. Michael Smith Jr. wishing good luck to Michael Smith and Austin Smith. Let's go Midwest Motorsports. As looks like the 98 trying not to spin the 45 tonight. Corey Crowell active here. Michael Smith, Heather Hochgrieve cheering on the 24. She's probably nursing a wound right about now. Julio cheering on the 43 as Diego not very happy. And Michael Smith Jr. making an excellent point. Very thankful that this is virtual racing, as that would have been a nasty scene to unfold with a red flag. Yeah, we would definitely be under red. Thank goodness iRacing is programmed to just, you know, do what it's got to do and clean up fast. We don't have to worry about that. But coming soon to a screen near you, rain on iRacing.
Oh boy.
The only thing that I'm curious about, and I know that, you know, they've been obviously testing rain tires and things like that in the real world.
Yes.
In NASCAR, you know, whether or not we will have that kind of an option on iRacing or what the deal is going to be, because up until now, at least in the stock car racing world, rain has pretty much always been a red flag causing event. You know, and everybody thought, oh my goodness, you know, Frank Marchese and I talk about this a lot. You know, for as advanced as we think that we are in, you know, fender racing, so to speak, the open wheel world, especially, you know, Formula One, so on and so forth, has had rain tires and technology for decades. As we come out of the tri-oval and into turn one, everybody going to get 2x2, get in the arc. Speaking of rain. But, you know, the rest of the world, well, we thought that it was exciting when we went from 5 lug nuts to 1. We thought that it was exciting when, you know, oh my goodness, we can go rain racing at road courses. F1's been doing that for decades.
They have.
You
and,
know, we're not really on the cutting edge. We're kind of following.
I mean, if we do decide to go racing here, I mean, in the rain, that would be awesome.
of course, my question will absolutely have to be, how do you program for that? You know, does whoever sets up a session, do they say, yeah, we'd like to have the chance of rain? Is there going to be some kind of a radar graphic or a button that somebody can push? Like, how is this going to work? I know, or is it suddenly going to rain for an entire Daytona 500?
I don't know, but imagine what it would be like racing in the rain here on iRacing in a this current generation car. I mean, that'd be kind of interesting, Dave, just to see how it would feel and all that. I mean, but you would think you have to add windshield wipers to that too, the little wiper device as well, so then
Which
you
of
can
course
see where you're
changes your
driving.
aero package.
Yes, it does.
Can you imagine somebody's windshield wiper whips off at 185 miles per hour going into the corner? That's not a windshield at that point. It's a spear coming for your chest.
Yeah. You may want to hopefully not get hit by that object. Pace car makes it off pit road. And green flag's back in the air here on lap 8 out of 80. As you see the 23 of Austin Smith now leading the way into turn number 1 with the 20 of Corey Carell, who was fighting for a championship last season, sitting comfortably right now in P2 heading down the back straightaway.
Austin Smith leads a single file line, a little 4-car breakaway here back to Michael Smith. So a pair of Smiths on either end of this bookshelf right now. Sam Kohlhaas, I almost said Ira, but Ira's a little bit further back behind Kensley Smith running in 8th. Sam Kohlhaas in 5th. As we take a look here at the 30 machine working just underneath Andrew Teft in his 98 Racers Elite Ford Mustang. You know, this league, at least the Cup level, is a little bit more balanced between the Chevrolet Bowtie and the Ford Blue Oval, but still a very limited number of Toyota Camrys, as we've got just 5 here. So, you know, something interesting. I know that Toyota and Ford both changed their body styles for the 2024 NASCAR season, yet for some reason, at least, you know, here in iRacing, it seems like everybody's still sticking with that GM powertrain underneath the hood.
You would think you would see some drivers change over to Toyota, but I mean, Dave, now that like these new bodies came out, like you mentioned, I mean, that's in iRacing now, but you look at the Toyota, the new body configuration, it's more flat in the front, so it's easier to push with that Toyota now compared to a Chevy Camaro, where it's still a little pointed and a little risky yet. So it's like you would think that Ford and Toyota, a lot more drivers will be on those cars because, you know, they're easier to push on these drafting style tracks, but it doesn't look like it. It looks like a lot of these drivers are still staying with Chevy. But I mean, I don't know what happens after 2024. What happens to Chevy? What is there going to be their new body type? Because I also heard that Honda might be joining as well.
Honda is rumored to be getting ready to join the NASCAR ranks, and I would be curious to see how that happens. Of course, I would assume that it would be the Honda Accord. As we take a look right here, now this is something near and dear to my heart. In the 55 machine, Exide batteries. Let's see if I can get a little closer here. Zoomed right on in here to Austin Walker. I'm not sure if he was just a really big 99 fan from back in the day, or if he knows what Exide batteries. Oh boy! A little bit of
watch that 29.
There it is.
Oh, that's Alan Bergen around.
Alan Bergen, you're pointing the wrong direction. Somebody should probably get him a GPS.
Zach Lockett with a lot of front end damage to that machine there. You see that all caved in.
Let's take a look here and see what happened from Alan's hood. It's not going to be good from the hood.
It's right there, going 3 wide in front of him.
Like
oh,
from behind. He gets himself pointed straight again. Alan had it together. Let's see what happened from above here. We're going to watch right there, that blue and white number 27. He gets a bump from the 5 and then the 93 and just gets collected.
Oh.
Now, fortunately, they do have one fast repair in this league, so that should definitely help out. So that was kind of an ugly start there. We'll see if we
I don't see too much damage with Alan Bergen, but Zach Lockett, that's that nose is pushed in pretty good, so that's gonna hurt his aero damage. His aero actually. Second caution of the night. Yep.
All of these drivers going to come down pit road, as it looks like literally everybody except for Paul Shaw and Robert Knopfsinger Jr. so far here, as they're going to now creep their way up behind the pace car.
Working here on lap 13 out of 80 here tonight. And drivers exiting pit road with Corey Carell leading the way. Right now, our leader under caution is the 25 of Paul Shaw. I really haven't talked about him last season. He's been an up and down last season. I expect big things out of him here this season. Same thing with Knopfsinger. Is that Taylor Swift? Oh, it's a Swiftie. Yeah.
Taylor Swift. Oh, see, I had my microphone muted for that. Taylor Swift is like herpes. She just won't go away. She invades football, and now here she is in NASCAR.
She's popular these days.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess if you're going to be good at something, you might as well not do it for free, and she doesn't do anything for free. Corey Crowell running in third position. I gotta say, though, I like her choice of boyfriend. I'm not a Chiefs fan, per se, but I feel like Travis Kelce is a guy's guy.
Yeah. I agree. I agree, but you know, I'm a Cincinnati Bengals fan. I'm kind of sad that my team didn't make the playoffs this season, but you know, next season I expect them to, you know, hopefully win the Super Bowl. They were very close 3 seasons ago, whatever it was. As you see the field here doubled up with Paul Shaw literally leading this field here back to green. Next to him is the 89 of Knopfsinger. Second row, we're going to have the 20 of Corey Carell and the 82 of Joshua Neal here. And then Austin Smith rounding out your top 5. We want to thank you guys for watching the Racers Elite Next Gen Cup Series here on Sim Racing Media. Cheer on your favorite driver. Put it in the comments down below, and we will hopefully get to interview one of those drivers later on or show one of them on track.
Paul Shaw going to lead us back to the green flag as the man in the stand has switched colors. There it is. He reaches down, gets the old green flag up in the air. He wasn't sure at first what he was going to grab. At some point, we'll have to discuss how much I can't stand iRacing officials either. Maybe not necessarily iRacing officials, but all stock car racing officials. Paul Shaw getting a nice restart. The pack staying together, so he's not going to get a big jump. That'll keep the racing tight behind him. It doesn't really hold up the line, but what it does is it just keeps all of those drivers having to, whoa! Joshua
Yowzer.
Robert Knopfsinger dropping down to the low side. Kind of an interesting choice is Kensley Smith going to run in third now on the high side, leading that top line. That top line has some potential there, but you really have to keep it tight and level.
See these guys get very, very close to each other, going down the back and front straightaway here, and Joshua Neal's going to lead that lap here.
Joshua Neal leading us here on lap number 16 of 80. Dave Riegel and Daniel Paulus with you here in the Sim Racing Media broadcast booth. Of course, the Tony Trapasso Memorial broadcast booth. Want to welcome everybody in to the youtube.com live chat. Sarah Smile checking in saying good evening, everyone. Sarah was very active last night in our live chat, so we're glad to have her back tonight. It keeps it interesting. It lets us know what you guys are thinking at home. Guys and gals, that is Paul Shaw here in the 25 getting a little too close to comfort for Kensley Smith. And Kensley Smith has kind of a cool, that's the Country Time Lemonade paint scheme with a DEI stripe down the side. And, you know, once upon a time here at Daytona, if you saw the DEI stripe, you knew that you were in trouble because their super speedway program was second to none.
Outside line struggling a little bit. You see more cars moving that outside line to get the momentum going, and they're going to be side by side going into turn number 3. Joshua Neal has his hands full.
Neal trying to protect that lead. And in these cup cars, especially early on in the race, when we're just about a quarter of the way through, you're going to see a lot of these drivers be defensive. These are not offensive kind of cars. I mean, you know, back in the early 2000s, especially in the mid to late 90s, they were cars that you could absolutely beat the bejesus out of with. But these cars now, they're very light. They're not designed to be battering rams or snowplows going on the racetrack. So you're going to see Smith and Neal start to protect themselves a little bit here as the Smiths, Kensley and Michael being timed first and second.
Joshua Neal lost the lead there, now falling all the way back to 6th place. Not where I would want to be, not where all the action is mid-pack there. And you're seeing right here the 45 of Smith leading the way.
Yeah, pretty much anywhere in these cup cars in the middle of the pack is like a minefield. You run the risk of making a mistake almost anywhere, and it's not going to be intentional, that's for sure. Even as we move deeper into this race, drivers getting a little bit more used to one another. Now Kensley Smith trying to figure out if he can use this number 15, kind of like the old cup cars that we knew from, you know, the mid 2000s, where you could drift between the high and low line, taking everybody's momentum, borrowing that draft and keeping yourself up ahead of everyone else. Michael Smith in tow, followed by Corey Crowell and Joshua Neal.
Let's see if this outside line can get the momentum as they go down into the travel here. Look at some of these drivers, Dave. They are literally peeking in and out here. Can't really hold a line here. Can you explain to our race fans why that happens?
Well, first of all, you're dealing with a car where if we look right here at the 30, actually, let's look at the 20. Right now, the 20 is taking a bunch of clean air, and it's going over the hood and hitting that rear spoiler. When it comes off of the rear spoiler, if you're not tucked up close enough, it's going to bounce. That air is going to hit the rear spoiler, hit the ground, and then come up onto your nose. If you can draft yourself a little bit closer, you can actually make that air stop from hitting the asphalt and go straight over your car. Those two cars are now drafting, and it makes them work as one big machine, as we can now see with the 30 and the 13. When you get deeper in the pack and you have a few gaps basically like air pockets between the cars, you wind up kind of in a weird situation where it creates turbulence in the car, and these new cars are very light, a lot of carbon fiber and aluminum in them rather than steel. So it causes them to wobble in the wind, so to speak.
Look to the outside. There's the 13 of Brand Honeycutt trying to challenge the 30 of Kohlhaas for the leader going into turns 3 and 4. They're going to be side by side. Who's going to have the edge here?
Looks like right now just about everybody is kind of even keel, but we go 3 wide deeper in the field. That's an interesting choice here, as Michael Smith kind of getting involved. Wow, just dove out of the way as he realized that it was 3 wide and he was the meet. The 82 of Joshua Neal now in the middle of a 3 wide situation. He's at this point just looking for a place to park the 82 and get out of the line of fire.
And you see drivers that are literally trying to go 3 wide, but if they don't have help behind them, it's literally like a vacuum cleaner, Dave. They will go all the way to the back. So if you're going to go 3 wide, you better hope that you have some momentum behind you of drivers pushing you. Because if not, like I said, you're going all the way to the back and you're going to have to restart all over again.
Yeah, and at this stage in the race, don't get me wrong, being pushed all the way to the back isn't a bad thing. But what it does is it makes you have to search through traffic. And, you know, nobody really likes rush hour traffic in the first place. Picture rush hour traffic at 180 miles per hour.
I don't think I could do that.
I don't like doing rush hour traffic at 40 miles an hour, much less 180. Taking a look up here through our top 10, Brandon Zimmerman, now your race leader here in the 65. Brandon Honeycutt has basically proven himself to be a master at pushing tonight, as he has been behind every leader, helping them stay up atop the pile.
Look at this driver that's currently sitting 7th right now. That is the 4 of Dennis Kane. Dennis Kane, he has shown strength in the season finale, and that's what we're looking for here this season. Can he get into the playoffs? That is what he has told me when I interviewed him in the season finale. No matter what happens in the season finale, as long as he gets a good finish, he is fine. But he did tell me that he wants to meet his goal and make the playoffs this season. And so far, he's inside the top 10, which is a good sign to start off the season.
Well, you know, and here's the thing. If you can get yourself a win or get a few bonus points for the postseason, you know, you can set yourself up really nice here at Daytona. You know, I know that we talk about this being a Super Bowl and the Super Bowl of all of NASCAR, yada, 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 but here's what it really is. It's a wild card race. There are some drivers that wind up in the front because of pure dumb luck. There are some drivers that get there because they're really good at reaction time and catching the momentum of the draft at just the perfect moment. And then there's those guys where we shake our head and go, how did he wind up there? So, you know, yes, it's our Super Bowl and we celebrate it like that, but at the same time, it's also more like a wild card playoff round.
I'm seeing a lot of aggressive moves being made here early on. It's only lap 26. There's a long way to go yet. So, I mean, you want to be very careful here. And you're seeing the top 2 drivers single file right now. The outside struggling a little bit. But if the 4 of Dennis Kane can get that run to the front, he is going to be a hard driver to pass because I've seen him block.
From our YouTube live chat, we're going to take a quick peek here at the 57 of Jason Bottoms. And right now, Jason, he doesn't show any damage here on the skin of the car. So, guessing he either used the fast repair or just simply didn't get any damage out of that first wreck. So good for him if he managed not to get any damage. But of course, in the live chat, Jason 57, perhaps he's asking for himself.
Hey, Dave, look who's inside the top 10. It's the 27 of our buddy Alan Bergen.
That's my boy. Taught him everything he knows. Got him a target. It's real nice. As Alan Bergen now crawling his way quietly into 10th position. First Chief Cook and Bottle Washer here. It's him racing. Whoa, easy there, big fella. Kensley Smith coming up underneath Alan Bergen. I wouldn't play with fire, that's for sure. And we see Jonathan Leach here running around in 14th, not too far off from Alan. So those two SRM teammates going to be nearby one another as we get deeper into this race. Dennis Kane running in 5th position as we are basically 7 deep single file in that low line. 9 deep with Kensley Smith and Michael Smith, and it's just getting more and more tight here in that top 10.
So we're running a little long green flag runs here, Dave. If it does continue to go green, when do we expect to see pit stops cycle in? Because we're going to see them come in as groups, but you can't make a mistake on pit road. One little mistake, Dave, and you're going to be out of the draft for sure.
Well, taking a look at some of the information here, we will be running, looks like to me, 75% fuel here in the Cup Series, so that's about a 30-lap run, well, 25 to 30 laps. They have 4 tire sets total, or I'm sorry, 5 tire sets total, so we're probably looking at about lap 40 before we start seeing guys come in, especially if they were already down on lap 12. In fact, only Knopfsinger and Shaw were down on laps 4 and 5, so they are actually, those two drivers being off book, so to speak, are going to be the ones to keep an eye on for when they come in first. We can see everybody else here having 17 laps on the tires through the top 10.
Working on lap 30, gonna be going on lap 31 here very, very soon. And there it is, lap 31 out of 80 complete here with the 23 of Austin Smith leading the way. And most of these drivers now single file for the most part.
Single file is the way to go here in the Cup Series. In fact, as you say that, they all just went single file. It's like they heard you, like the voice of God. Austin Smith, your race leader, followed by Corey Crowell and Brandon Zimmerman. Brandon Honeycutt, though, he's lurking around. Not sure if we're going to see any movement there as Dennis Kane rounds out the top 5 and this front pack as they're starting to separate themselves from Ira Kohlhaas, who's currently 0.3 of a second behind Kane.
I'm wondering if pit stops are going to be coming up very, very soon because, you know, the only time I see this happen is if the pit stops are going to be coming for these drivers. And when you see one driver come in or like a small little group, Dave, that's the signal for other cars maybe out on track to come in and get that service done. You're seeing right there the 30 of Kohlhaas currently in 6th right now. And there's one driver that's shocking to me that's not inside top 10 yet, Dave, and he was very strong last season. That's the 5 of Brandon Puffenbarger.
Yeah, Puffenbarger was incredibly strong last night in the Xfinity Series as he picked up that dub. But taking a look here tonight, Morgantown, West Virginia's very own Brandon Puffenbarger has the 5 right now in 11th position, so he's outside the top 10 by just a little bit. And when I say just a little bit, I mean literally a 1/10 of a second.
Right behind him is the 86 machine, Jonathan Leach, our boss.
Brandon Puffenbarger leading the 12th position. Leach in the number 21 from Shreveport, Louisiana. Of course, I know the secret, and I know where he's really at. You ever been to Shreveport, Louisiana, Daniel?
I have not.
Yeah, me neither. Sounded good, though. Obviously, you never watched the Craig Ferguson show, huh?
That is a no.
Do yourself a favor. Go on to the old YouTube there and look up Craig after tonight's broadcast, folks. We don't want you leaving us to go check out some Scottish guy, but you got to check out Craig Ferguson, and that whole bit was just fantastic during the Late Late Show.
Seeing a couple of drivers there on that high line. There's the 57, Jason Bottoms. Moving out of the way for our leader.
Speaking as someone who was a fair to Midland racer back in the day, there's nothing more frustrating than being a lap down. The field at a super speedway is coming past you. You're literally holding on for dear life as Jason Bottoms follows Dakota Bly. And, you know, you don't want to make a mistake, but at the same time, that pack going past you is doing nothing but trying to suck you in like a vacuum. You know, and you can even see right there Bly getting a little bit wobbly. That's not from anything that Bottoms is doing behind him. That's these cars here on the low line literally causing just enough turbulence to shake things up for him. Now we see all of a sudden the 57 dropping into the single file line. He abandons Bly on the top side, and Bly getting into line now opens the door up. That's an interesting move here. Trying to see who that is. Yep, there it is. Alex Teft in the 43 following Andrew Teft. So as they got themselves organized there, it really shook things up for those two lapped cars of Dakota Bly and Jason Bottoms.
Still out front, the 23 of Austin Smith. And right behind him, we have the 20 of Corey Carell. In third, we have the 65 of Zimmerman. Fourth place, Honeycutt. Fifth place, Dennis Kane. Sixth place, Kohlhaas. Seventh place, Ira Kohlhaas. Eighth place, Joshua Neal. 15 of Kensley Smith. And rounding out the top 10 is the 45 of the other Smith. But let's go focus on the 15 of Kensley Smith really quick, Dave. He's gotten a win last season, got himself into the playoffs, has been very strong. Won at Las Vegas. That was the peak. That was the bright point on this 15 machine. Now he's sitting here in ninth place, starting very strong here in Daytona. What do you like to see out of this 15 this season?
Well, first and foremost, what I want to see is a lot of consistency. Back during the days of the NASCAR 99 game on EA Sports, I remember Benny Parsons saying, consistency, consistency, consistency. There goes Knopfsinger and Shaw down pit road. But, you know, if you can get yourself, you know, set up, hey, listen, let me pick up a couple of top 10s, maybe a top 5, and a win, you can use those points that you gain there to load yourself into the playoffs later in the season. So, you know, you don't have to be winning every week. You don't have to be, you know, dominant every week. All you have to do is show up and hit those marks and get her done. You know, there's no reason that you have to, you know, try to outdrive yourself or overdrive your car. As we see Robert Knopfsinger and Paul Shaw coming down pit road, now making their way out, as Knopfsinger and Shaw, both the first drivers to come on down. Each of them had 34 laps on the old tires there, so now we can see that they're trying to go about 35. So that being said, we're just approaching the 30 mark here for these drivers who all came down on lap number 12. So we're going to see here in the pit strategy graphic, they've got 27. They've got about 8 laps to go before they make that same stop. Taking a look
Liking
at
that
Austin's
23 scheme. As you see the field making her way off of turn number 4, going into the tri-oval. With Austin Smith still leading the way. Pit stop's going to be coming up very, very soon here in the Racers Elite Next Gen Cup Series. And these drivers have put on a heck of a show so far. Past the halfway mark here from Daytona in the season opener here for the Cup Series. Lap 41 out of 80. Will we see the big one at the end? We don't know, but I wouldn't be shocked if we see 2 wide, 3 wide, even possibly 4 wide racing here towards the end of the race. Maybe in overtime as well.
Without a doubt, Austin Walker and Alan Bergen coming in early. Alan leaving teammates out on the track yet, so green flag pit stops are going to start. We're going to take a break here and pay some bills on Sim Racing Media. I'm Dave Regal. He's Daniel Paulus. This is the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast Booth live on Sim Racing Media.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $400,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Masker can't defend. He's got the outside line for the second part, and he can't hold on.
Going the long way around. We're going to be 3 wide for the lead as they all come to the line. Who is going to take it in the end?
And here comes Lockwood. He's going to make the move to the outside. Quinn tries to force him off a little bit, but there he goes. It's going to be side by side through turn 1.
Will he be able to cover him off? He does. Weaving back to the left-hand outside. Reynolds is trying everything. The kitchen sink is being thrown at it.
They're leaning on each other. Coming into turn number 3. It's going to be a drag race through 3 and 4. Coming back to the line. Here comes Frisch on the bottom. Richard's going to hold the inside. Tries to be the late breaker here. They're going to be side by side through the final chicane. They bang doors, but keep it clean.
As they're still 4 wide on the run down into the back straightaway. Demerit's looking for a line as well. What is going on in Michigan?
Novak into the fence. They're still beating and banging.
Oh
and to the line.
He is much faster coming through there. Is there damage on Challenger? Abramitis is ahead. There's going to be a race to the line. Who is going to get it?
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Welcome back to Daytona International Speedway, working lap number 48. Green flag pit stops just completed here at the good old-fashioned Super Speedway in the Sunshine State. Coming off of turn 2, though, I just saw coming a little crazy here. Looked like the 21, nope, that would be the 27 of Alan Bergen, as he's now side-by-side with the 55 of Austin Walker.
Whoa.
Austin Smith, meanwhile, cycles himself back up to the race lead, followed by Brandon Puffenbarger and Corey Crowell. They have themselves a little three-car pile-up, but just behind them by about 3 3/4 seconds is Ira Kohlhaas leading Brandon Honeycutt, Dennis Kane, Joshua Neal, Kensley Smith, and Sam Kohlhaas, as well as Brandon Zimmerman. So, what we're going to start to see here is this little 7-car pack going to start to be able to draft up and close that 3.7 second gap behind Corey Crowell. Before the end of this green flag run, assuming that we stay green, we're going to see Kohlhaas and Crowell nose to tail.
And with these bigger cars, like, not bigger cars, but, you know, bigger lines of cars, group of cars, the more cars you have, so let's say you have, like you said, a 7 group of cars and you got 3 cars in front of you, well, obviously the momentum's going to be with the 7 cars because you have more momentum pushing you, going faster than just 3 cars. So you don't want to be in that situation after pit road where it's just you and one other driver, because you're just going to get swallowed by the other big group.
Yeah, back during the days of the Car of Tomorrow, they were able to do tandem drafting, which was actually really fast and really exciting. However, here in this generation of NASCAR Cup Car, you know, the bigger the pack, the faster the pack. Now, since we've mentioned it, Kohlhaas was down to as little as 3.5 seconds. It's re-expanded, though, to 3.8 as they were dealing with some lap cars. We're going to see all of a sudden some of those lap cars simply playing a factor here, as Alan Bergen running in 25th. He's mixed in with the lead pack. Looks like Jonathan Leach right now just kind of hanging around 22nd all by his lonesome. He's probably more frustrated than a Keebler Elf getting demoted to Fudge Packer.
Well, I mean, it's only his first start, so he's got a long way to go here.
Austin Smith leads the way here on lap number 51. We want to thank all of you for tuning in here to Sim Racing Media. Dave Regal and Daniel Paulus, a pair of Pennsylvania boys, bringing you all of the action tonight live from Daytona International Speedway. You're watching the Racers Elite Next-Gen Cup Series. Of course, we want to take a look at, we would be remiss if we didn't talk about what's coming up, as 7:30 on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday nights right here on Sim Racing Media. You can check us out, as Tuesday, the Truck Series is going to be at Chicagoland. Next Wednesday and Thursday, the Xfinity and Cup Series will be here at Auto Club. And Unfortunately, I will not be along for the ride next Thursday as I'll be packing my backpack and heading on down to Clearwater, Florida. Little spring training baseball action there. Whoa!
Oh!
Easy, big fella.
Ow. Now, Dave, I don't know if you've heard about this lately, but you know how we've been getting that 60-degree weather, right?
I do.
Well, apparently we're going to get a snowstorm in the second week of March.
That's fine. Let's see. Let's just take a look at the old AccuWeather forecast.
I'm sure it's going to be warm down Florida.
I'm looking at the first week of March. It looks like rain in the 50s. Nothing crazy, though. It's the 10-day. You should never be too far away from AccuWeather.com. I just happen to have a tab of it open here. I don't see a snowstorm on the horizon, but maybe that's just because I'm south of the I-78 corridor where you live.
Oh no, it's not going to show it on the radar just yet, just because it's so far out yet.
No, not necessarily.
It might change. It might change. It's a 50-50.
Yeah. I mean, all weather is 50-50. It's either going to be nice or not.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just ready to get that summer heat going. 70s, 80s. I mean, it's my type of thing.
It's not.
Hopefully, it won't be too hot at Pocono this season. I mean, if it's 90 degrees like it was that one year.
Daniel, I am a large human being. I don't do well in the heat. I look like a pig on a spit. Just put an apple in my mouth and turn me around.
Well, hopefully Pocono's not too hot and it's not, extremely hot. Because one time I went to Pocono over the summer and man, I got sunburned on my back neck. It was terrible.
Back when I was growing up, right outside of Reading, Pennsylvania, we of course had a World War II weekend at the airfield out there. And it was always the first weekend of June, right after Memorial Day, and it always seemed like that weekend was the hottest weekend of summer. And there I was on the crash crew with the fire department, standing outside, basically having my skin ripped off for 10 hours a day, while people looked at old B-52 bombers and, old military stuff, and I'm like, can y'all just go home so I can too? One year they even had some guy doing a flamethrower demonstration. Just lighting some grass on fire.
Flamethrower, nice.
There was a flamethrower, and I'm thinking, it's already 105 on the tarmac out here. Could you? Maybe not.
Yeah.
I'd be more inclined to see Mr. Freeze.
Yeah. Well, you might see Mr. Freeze in 2 weeks if this weather decides to change. Who knows? Right now, our leader, 23 of Austin Smith, still leading his way here. He's still pretty tough to lead, but I mean, I don't see anybody getting the lead unless we get a bigger pack here going, Dave.
No, right now things are pretty calm here on the Western Front. Everybody coming down on lap 44 with the exception of Robert Knopfsinger and Paul Shaw, who each came down on 38. And as we had discussed earlier, they came down on laps 4 and 5 originally, so they came down together. And at this point in the race, you're just buckling in and holding on.
I mean, when you're in a driver's seat, though, Dave, you're not really thinking about the laps. You're just focusing on what's in front of you, what's behind you, what's all around you. You're just listening to that spotter sometimes saying, like 10 laps ago, 20 laps ago. You're really not focusing on how many laps there are until you notice that it's maybe 2 laps to go. So when you're behind that catbird seat, it goes pretty fast.
Well, a lot of it has to do with the environment that you're in as well. I've already had nights back in the day where it seemed like all of my teammates were taking the night off, and there I was in our team chat all alone. The night goes very slow when you don't have guys to sit there and chuckle with while you drive around at 175, 185 miles per hour.
Gonna be coming close to 20 to go, but just 22 laps to go here. 21 laps to go, actually.
21 laps to go with Austin Smith atop the pile. He's followed by last night's winner, Brandon Puffenbarger. And Corey Crowell running in third position. Ira Kohlhaas runs in fourth with Brandon Honeycutt in fifth. But this top four, they've managed to figure out how to keep it together. As we take a look deeper back here in the field at Alex Teft in the 43, he follows brother Andrew Teft in the 98 as we come out of turn 2 and down the back chute. You know, this is a tandem that didn't get a whole lot of opportunity to work together last night, but here they are tonight, pushing themselves around this racetrack, trying to get themselves as competitively balanced as they can to boogie around here, as Noah Tansman runs in 13th, just behind Alex Teft in the 43. And I mean, this little 8-car pack here is probably pretty safe. Now they've had several laps to run together. They've had, plenty of time to get used to one another, so that can be very dangerous for those cars in front of them, as these guys, for lack of a better term, have their act together.
I agree 100% on that. Here's another driver we need to mention here is the 98 of Andrew Teft. Hasn't been inside the top 10 most of the night. Currently sitting 11th, just outside the top 10. But I mean, he got so many wins. Not wins, that was Alex Teft, but he was really good last season, no matter what. But he always figures out how to get to the front right at the end of these races.
There's a lot of patience built into that. And speaking of Alex Teft, I can see here from your local airport, as we were just talking about Redding's airport, Allegiant Air on the side of the 43. Kind of an interesting airline. I've never flown them. My dad usually, in fact, he'll be right down from your place tomorrow as he's going over to ABE to make his flight for Florida. But Allegiant Air, really great airline from what I'm told, and gets you from A to B. It's a bargain airline, not necessarily a lawn chair, but that's what I fly on Spirit.
Nice little group of cars right there. There's another driver behind the 43 of Noah Tansman in that 56 machine. And these drivers are making their ways through turns 1 and 2 right now. Just 19 laps to go here. Do we see a big one? Do we see any caution come out? I don't think so. I mean, they are running fantastic right now with just 19 laps to go. And let me tell you, this 56 machine last season, he has sparked a few eyes here in the Racers Elite Next Gen Cup Series. He's been doing his best. He keeps improving every week. And I expect some big things out of him this season, as well as with a lot of these other drivers.
Yeah, Tansman running right now in 13th position, up 11 from where he had started back in 24th. So one of the big movers of the night. Right now, our biggest mover of the night belongs to Alex Teft, who sat back in 28th when the green flag flew and has already worked his way up here into 12th. So, at that point, you're kind of looking at the moral victory and thinking to yourself, hey, listen, I may not be up in the top 10. I may not even be on the podium. But coming through all of those cars, getting through green flag pit stops and bringing yourself into where you are right now running in 12th position is still something nice that you can hang your hat on. Austin Smith, Brandon Puffenbarger, and Corey Crowell still the class of the field up here. They now have the 24 of Diego Rodriguez in tow. The 55 of Austin Walker running just behind him. And we see Alan Bergen kind of tucked in with those leaders as well.
Alan not doing too bad here on his first night. Only a lap down here at Daytona. Is that a Patrick Starfish scheme that I'm seeing?
Very well might be. Let's take a look.
I believe that is the 10 of Wayne Scott.
Is mayonnaise an instrument?
Mayonnaise an instrument?
I'd say yeah.
Yeah.
If it's not, it's at least an amplifier. If you put mayonnaise under your armpit and you start moving your armpit back and forth, it's going to make more noise than if it was dry. as we can see him working just along the 89 of Robert Knopfsinger. Knopfsinger here holding on. Oh, that's not the 89.
That's the Taylor Swift machine.
Well, we didn't need to see her again, did we? Oh, the 88 giving a good bump here.
Oh.
Knopfsinger.
I thought he was going around there for a second, Dave.
15 laps to go here at Daytona International Speedway. Austin Smith, your race leader. He's followed by Brandon Puffenbarger and Corey Crowell. We've been talking about them all night, but not really paying attention as they have really run away from the field. And when I say they're the class of the field, they truly are. And you know,
I mean, I don't know if 15 laps is enough.
I don't think it is. I genuinely would have to see, at this point, a competition caution come out.
I mean, if a caution came out, Dave, this whole field's re-racked. I mean, there's going to be a lot more action unpacked there then. But, I mean, with 14 laps to go now, I mean, the gap is so huge, I just don't see it happening.
Here's the thing, and this is something that we're going to have to pay close attention to. Many of these drivers came down to lap 44, 45. There it is. Never mind. Andrew Teft blinked first, and he's going to dive down pit road, followed by brother Alex Teft, Noah Tansman, Michael Smith, Zach Lockett, Robert Knopfsinger Jr., and Paul Shaw, as these drivers all come down pit road first. And you have to understand that they're sitting there thinking, I've got to be able to get some fuel. They came down the same time that Austin Smith, Brandon Puffenbarger, and Corey Crowell did. So now Smith has a hard decision to make as he rolls it out of turn 4. They pass pit road. They're going to put Teft, Lockett, Tansman, Knopfsinger, Smith, and Shaw down a lap, as those drivers only just going to be able to get up to speed. But, you know, to be completely honest, now they've got to go around, get one more lap in these cars, maybe two, depending on speeds, and then we're going to see them come into pit road because they don't want to have to go down a lap themselves.
Well, we're about to find out here in the closing laps from Daytona International Speedway. An exciting opener event here in the Cup Series. Very unfortunate for the 24 earlier on. Got involved in an incident, and man, I bet Diego was not expecting that. So I bet if he didn't get into that wreck, he would have probably been up inside top 5 right about now.
More than likely, absolutely, as Austin Smith's still out here logging laps. Maybe he thinks he's got enough fuel to make it to the end, because really, at this point, it's not about tires and grip, it's about fuel. And that's the game that we're about to play. Now, do you come down pit road and take a splash? You're going to wind up having to coordinate with those drivers that are with you. Those, you know, this little 5-car pack here from Smith back to Honeycutt has a really hard decision to make here, as, you know, now they run the risk of having, you know, Troy Thomas Truthhope, Gregory Robinson, and Brandon Sanfilippo doing the same thing.
Out.
They stay out yet again. So an interesting choice here from Austin Smith, our race leader.
Well, I mean, you could see it, they're running around 30 to 35 laps here on fuel from Daytona. So, I mean, if you're going to stay out, it's probably going to cut it close. But, I mean, if you run out of fuel and you're coming to that white flag, I don't know what to say.
When you don't know what to say, the only thing left to do is pray.
Yeah.
Stay with me for more cliches.
Well, you know, the 5 of Brandon Puffenbarger. Oh, here they come, Dave. Here they come. They're all coming down pit road here.
Jonathan Leach going to come down.
Here comes some more drivers behind them.
They are suddenly going to shuffle this field something fierce, and that's going to make things very interesting now, as Leach is going to come down with them. So these drivers all going to come down, as Leach is already down a lap. I don't see... He just takes a splash of fuel and gets it moving. Shreveport, Louisiana's very own Jonathan Leach. Looks like a little bit of damage there on the front of the old SRM mobile. Nope, just the body style.
Now that has the 29 Aaron Kohlhaas to the lead.
Not anymore.
Oh, here they come down pit road.
As the great Lee Corso would say, not so fast, my friend. That's going to cycle Troy Thomas into the lead, but Thomas, Hogue, Robinson, and Sanfilippo, the only drivers not to come down just yet. Now, the earliest drivers, Teft, Knopfsinger, Tansman, Lockett, and Wayne Scott, they were all probably hoping for a quick caution as Kohlhaas, Honeycutt, Smith, and Zimmerman all come down. So that's going to cycle. Nope, Thomas stays out. Well, trust Thomas. Thomas, the Mountain Dew Code Red and friends.
I'm liking that scheme there. I love Mountain Dew.
You may love Mountain Dew, but are you all jacked up on Mountain Dew?
Not right now at this time.
Now we roll out of turn 4. Troy Thomas deciding to roll the dice here, as Puffenbarger going to be puffing hard to get back up there into the lead.
Can the 88 machine of Thomas pulled off the rest of the field? That is the question. They're 5 seconds back right now, but they're closing in a lot. As they head down the back straightaway, going into turn number 3. Second place is Truth Oak. Third place is Robinson. Do they come down pit road this time with 8 laps to go? We'll find out. As they come off of turn number 4.
Nope. They thought about
they're
it. They
staying
changed
out.
their mind. So they stay out for another lap here. You've got to figure with 7 laps to go, you've got nearly 30 laps on these cars. There's no way. In fact, let's just take a look here at the pit strategy. 29 laps for Thomas, 28 for Hoke, 29 for Robinson. I mean, I feel like this whole top 10 right now is nothing but a bunch of sitting ducks.
Well, I mean, here's the thing, though, Frank. If they have enough fuel, let's just say they had enough fuel and they put a gamble and they decide to stay out. Do they block the other pack if they come and catch up to them? Oh, here they come down pit road.
Chance it. Truth Hoke stayed out. Truth Hoke smokes crack.
Oh my!
There's no reason to stay out there.
He's going for it. He's going all in.
You almost wonder if Truth Hoke missed the pit road entrance. In fact, I'm curious enough where we're gonna run this back and just take a quick peek. Because something tells me that Truth Hoke thought that he was supposed to be down there with everybody else and didn't make it. And let's see. Let's go through here. We'll take a look. Nope, that was planned. Truth Hoke was going to stay out the whole time.
Oh, they go right around him.
Blew his doors right off. They did as Puffenbarger, Smith, Crowell go on by in that little trifecta. That's going to shuffle Hoke into 4th position as he's got some work to do now. 5 laps to go at Daytona International Speedway here in the Racers Elite Next Gen Series. I want to remind you folks to tune on in 3 nights a week here on Sim Racing Media. Tuesday, the trucks are going to be at Chicagoland, and then Wednesday and Thursday, Xfinity and Cup Series will be at Auto Club. And so, to me, this is almost like eternal race week on iRacing, as neither of those 2 tracks that we'll be at next week are in existence in real life anymore in that form. And of course, Auto Club going through the big reconfiguration out there in California, and Chicagoland just simply off the schedule for reasons nobody can seem to understand.
Well, I mean, I did hear in 2025 that Chicagoland Speedway could come back.
Did you hear what else is going to happen in 2025?
we might go racing in Mexico and Canada.
Yeah, that's going to be exciting. The other thing coming up for this season, Dale Jr. is going to be taking a break from NBC and getting himself set up to call races next season with the new media deal that's coming out for NASCAR, as he's going to work for Time Warner and Prime Video. So that's, of course, going to open up a lot of opportunities for Dirty Mo Media and, of course, for literally the face of our sport. You know, there's a guy who's been retired now for a number of years. You know, of course, the Hall of Famer, multiple-time, fan favorite driver, the whole schmear. And Dale Jr. is such a good ambassador for this sport. He really cares about it. And in fact, I crossed paths with him down in Miami. You know, we were down on pit road just before the Xfinity Series races. The popsicle sticks go in the air. We're 2 to go. But as we were down in Miami, I was trying to, of course, get an autograph, and I was getting closer and closer to the car, and a guy reached out, literally the guy in front of me, as they were cutting off the autographs as they were getting ready to, for pre-race ceremonies. Guy in front of me reaches out with a dirty, nasty old blue and yellow Wrangler hat and goes, "Hey, Dale, this is my daily wear. Hey, Dale, this is my daily." And Dale Jr. looked at that, and he stopped the guy who was trying to cut off the autographs, and he said, "Hold up, I got to sign this for this guy." And you could see that that's a genuine reaction from Dale Earnhardt Jr. That's a guy who appreciates the history of the sport and, of course, dear old dad in that original blue and yellow Wrangler car. As we come into the tri-oval, Brandon Puffenbarger, our race leader. The popsicle sticks go down, the white flag is in the air, and we are racing back to checkers. Brandon Puffenbarger has worked his way up here into the lead to go back-to-back in the Racers Elite Next-Gen Cup Series. And I'll tell you what, so far so good for the young man as he comes down the backstretch.
Yeah, that 20, I don't know what Corey Carell was thinking, because now he has no help. I mean, there goes the 23 of Austin Smith to the outside. They're side drafting. Can the 23 side draft the 5?
Oh, they touch right before the start finish line. The leader's
on
wreck.
Corey Carell. They're both
Every leader
on the wall.
Every leader just wrecked. What's about to happen? Kensley Smith is about to come across the start.
Smith.
Oh, Kensley! It's pandemonium in the ring. Brandon Honeycutt crosses the start-finish line backwards.
Bro, I was not expecting that.
We are going to take a look at this finish for Brandon Honeycutt, who I'm 99% sure just crossed the start-finish line backwards. As we go high above here, of course, all kinds of mayhem breaking out in front of him. We're going to slow this down. Now we can see Honeycutt looking to the inside to avoid the 24 and winds up getting caught by the 24 after the 15 catches it. He spins helplessly through the infield, and here's the finish. Right here, folks. He just finished backwards. I think that's the first time I've ever seen anybody actually finish backwards. Right here. Brandon Honeycutt finishes this race, brings home the checkered flag backwards. The iRacing.com man in the stand with the green flag in his hand has no idea what to do with himself as Honeycutt comes right across the line backwards.
I never seen anything like that in my life.
Never. And he still manages to plow into the wall. He's going to be joined on the podium by Ira Kohlhaas and Kensley Smith, but Brandon Honeycutt, my goodness, going to be finishing atop the pile. Let's see if we can get a hold of Brandon.
I told you in this pre-race, watch out for this 13, because I think he's going to be strong this season.
Well, and right you were, as we're looking for Brandon Honeycutt. We're going to move him into the waiting room. And right now, we're going to get a hold of our surprise race winner, Brandon Honeycutt, in the number 13. Hey, Brandon, it's Dave up in the broadcast booth. You got me?
I can hear you. How you doing?
I don't even know how I'm doing because I'm still trying to figure out. You really kind of Ricky Bobbied this thing and crossed the start-finish line backwards, my man.
I didn't even know I won until my spotter says, "You're the winner." I was shocked.
Everybody was shocked. We just showed the replay about 14 times of you literally crossing the start-finish line in the grass backwards. I mean, that's something that we almost never, ever see. And here you are, after the leader's wreck on top of the podium.
Yeah, it's a good one.
So how did you get up here tonight? I mean, look, you're up 19 positions. You started in 20th. You fought your way through traffic. How do you find yourself this high up in the standings aside from the leaders taking themselves out?
I don't have it. I feel like it was mostly luck. I didn't have a plan. I just came in hoping to survive, and here I am.
Well, Brandon, congratulations. It was a heck of a run here. It was exciting. It was literally one of those picturesque Daytona finishes here at the World Center of Racing. Before we cut you loose, who do you need to thank for tonight's run?
Thank my team and thank everybody at Racers Elite, Andrew, and all them administrators and you guys for putting it on.
All right, my friend, listen, congratulations. We're going to see you next week at Auto Club. And, well, actually, Daniel and someone else will see you next week at Auto Club as I'll be off. But good luck, and we'll see you then.
Have a good one. Thanks.
And, Daniel, I believe next up you have Ira Colehouse with you, Daniel.
Hey, Ira Colehouse, it's Daniel in the booth. You got me, man.
Yes, sir. I got you.
Well, tell us what was going through your mind there, coming to the white flag, going across the start-finish line. I mean, I wasn't expecting this to happen at all for the finish. I mean, what was going on there?
I have no idea. We were, me and Kinsley and Brandon were working together because I knew that Josh Neal was going to go to the high side, and I was going to get underneath him and just draft off of them and get another spot higher. And the spotter said they were wrecking off of turn 4. And I mean, when I peeked out to see, it looked like all hell broke loose up there. And I mean, I'm coming to the checkered at Daytona. I'm not letting off, and then my hood flew up, and it said I got second. So we'll watch the replay and see what happened.
Well, it was an exciting finish here in the season opener here for the Next Gen Cup Series. A brand new season. Everybody's on clean slates, trying to compete for a championship this season. What's your expectations now that Daytona's out of the way? We're going to Auto Club next week. And do you think you could compete for this title?
I'd like to think so. We got a good group of guys here at Driving Extreme, and we just got to keep our noses clean and not get caught up in anybody else's mess. And when them tracks come where the tires wear off and there's an actual high side, that's where I'll come into play. So hopefully we can get this 29 car up front and do some damage this year.
Well, this was an exciting finish. Congratulations on the top 3 podium finish here tonight from Daytona in the season opener. Do you have anybody you would like to thank here tonight?
Yeah, definitely. I got to thank my wife and my 2 daughters for giving me the time to do this. They're inside right now. And got to thank Randy and Jennifer Sellers from RJS Automotive, Kinsley for making these paints, and got to give a shout out to my buddy Oscar and his Compass cocktail bar that's on the car this year. So we'll see if we can't get this one another spot up next week.
All right. Well, congratulations once again. We'll see you next week from Auto Club.
Thank you, sir.
And last but certainly not least on our podium, going to be finisher here on the 3rd step on the podium, Kensley Smith out of Tarboro, North Carolina. Hey, Kensley, it's Dave up in the broadcast booth. You got me?
How's it going?
Man, it's going great up here in the broadcast booth. You guys saved all the good stuff for literally the last leg of the race as you came to the start-finish line. I just looked at another replay, and not one driver crossed normal.
Yeah, I'm still kind of in disbelief. Coming off turn 4, I was looking in my mirror, trying to keep the guys behind me, and I look up and they're just spread across the track, and I was like, I mean, I don't have anywhere to go, so I guess I'm just going.
Yeah, sometimes that's the way you have to be. And I mean, we're looking at the replay right now as you had the 13 behind you, and just as he got underneath, it's like, everybody saw the cars wrecked all over the track. And as I said, not one person on the podium finished straight across the start-finish line. I mean, it had to be incredible riding from your position.
Yeah, I'm glad the 3 cars that finished, all 3 of us are on the same team, driving Extreme Inc., so it kind of worked out.
We're actually riding along here on your hood from this final lap. We can see that there you were at that point, what would have been the race lead as they were wrecking in front of you. This race, you crawled up just 4 positions, and oh my goodness, it's just, I don't think I'm ever going to get tired of watching this finish.
It's completely, probably the most craziest finish we've had here in Racers Elite.
Well, my man, listen, congratulations on the podium finish. And before we cut you loose tonight, who do you need to thank and tip your helmet to?
Of course, you guys and at SRM for broadcasting the league for us, and Racers Elite. We've really come really far in this league. I think I joined when there was like 11 guys racing every week. Of course, my team, Driving Extreme Inc., we're doing really good and getting together and figuring things out. And, of course, my wife and my daughter.
All right, my friend. Well, listen, we will see you next week at Auto Club. Congratulations on the podium finish. And go ahead and celebrate with your teammates as you guys try to sort out the mayhem at the end of Daytona.
Thanks, guys.
Well, Daniel, here we are at the end of what to me, it was probably the most exciting finish I've ever seen at Daytona International Speedway.
I'm still kind of like speechless. I don't even know what to say, Dave, because I never seen anything like this in my life of broadcasting here for iRacing, and they put on a heck of a show here tonight from Daytona. Everybody fighting, trying their best. That's exactly what we wanted to see. And now that Daytona's out of the way, we're going to not Atlanta, but Auto Club next week. And we see 3, even 4 wide action there. So we're going to see some great lines being used there. But you're going to see a lot of tire wear come into play at Auto Club because that surface grinds those tires like no tomorrow. And I'm just ready to get this season started.
Absolutely. Well, one final look here at our final results from Daytona, our season opener here in the Racers Elite Next Gen Series. Brandon Honeycutt captures the checkered flag basically by accident, followed by Ira Kohlhaas and Kensley Smith on the podium. Joshua Neal and Austin Smith round out your top 5, while Corey Crowell and Sam Kohlhaas finish 6th and 7th. Brandon Zimmerman bringing home 8th position honors, while Brandon Puffenbarger and Andrew Teft round out your top 10. 11th was Alex Teft, just behind brother Andrew, as Dennis Kane, Robert Knopfsinger, and Noah Tansman finished 12th, 13th, and 14th. 15th goes to Truth Hoke, while Troy Thomas brings home 16th place honors for the 88 tonight. Brandon Sanfilippo finishes in 17th, while Zach Lockett and Gregory Robinson, as well as Paul Shaw, round out your top 20. Michael Smith, Austin Walker, and Jonathan Leach finished 21st, 22nd, and 23rd, while Alan Bergen finishes 24th behind his teammate. Kirby Wainscott, Jason Bottoms, Dakota Bly, and Diego Rodriguez finish out the rest of the field that made it more than just a few laps that Jeremy Carter did at 26, as he brought the 26 home in 29th position after just 4 laps. So an interesting night here in the Racers Elite Next Gen Cup Series. As we get underway now, we can put Daytona behind us in the rearview mirror. The preparation has come to fruition for many of these drivers, and we get ready to embark on another season of Racers Elite Cup Series action. For myself, Dave Regal, here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth, and my broadcast partner, Mr. Daniel Paulus Jr., we want to thank all of you for making us a part of your evening. If you haven't done so already, make sure that you remember to subscribe and turn on those bell notifications on YouTube.com. And tomorrow and every day as you walk down the road of life, remember, you're special, you're unique, and you're the only one like you. Good night, everybody.